Our generation is pretty isolated from everybody around them, being on their phones all the time and stuff.
Talking politics with San Diego teens, some are not old enough to weigh in on this year's election. Their answers to the question, if I had a vote.
I laid a trap for myself, didn't I?
You were acting from your heart.
And Art Meets History, the key meeting of world leaders at the Old Globe, and how this play goes beyond the facts.
Everything I've ever written features kids who are growing up on the quote-unquote wrong side of the tracks.
The first Latino author to win the Newbery Medal returns to his elementary school. His message to San Diego students. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Susan Murphy. The investigation continues into the deadly crash of Egypt Air Flight 804. A French judicial official says investigators started questioning all ground staff at the Charles de Gaulle Airport who had either a direct or indirect link to the Cairo-bound flight. Egyptian air and naval forces found debris from the plane that went down into the Mediterranean Sea. Associated Press reporter Matthew Burgoyne has more.
Egyptian air and naval forces have spotted debris from Egypt Flight 804 that crashed in the Mediterranean Sea, killing all 66 passengers and crew on board.
Army airplanes participating in the search have been able to locate wreckage or belongings of the airplane extending for 290 kilometers from northern Alexandria toward the sea. The search effort will continue until finding the airplane.
The plane fell off the radar at 2:45 a.m. local time Thursday morning while crossing the Mediterranean Sea en route from Paris to Cairo. This photo, released by the European Space Agency, shows a slick in the eastern Mediterranean in the same area that the Egypt Air flight disappeared. A team of French investigators and a technical expert from Airbus arrived in Cairo Friday to help with the investigation. Multiple countries have joined the Egyptian search effort, scouring a wide area south of the Greek island of Crete. Russian President Vladimir Putin sent his condolences to the crash victims' families.
Again, we express our condolences to all of the victims, to the people of France and Egypt following the airplane crash in the Mediterranean Sea.
Later Friday, some relatives held prayers for the dead at Sultan Hussein Mosque in the Egyptian capital. It is not yet known what caused the crash, but some experts and officials have not ruled out terrorism as a possibility. Matthew Burgoyne, Associated Press.
Joaquin El Chapo Guzman is one step closer to being extradited to the U.S. This is video of the raid leading to his capture. Mexico's Foreign Relations Department has ruled that the extradition of the convicted Sinaloa cartel can go forward. But Guzman's lawyers have 30 days to appeal the decision, which could delay the process. San Diego is one of 7 jurisdictions with cases against him. The department said in a statement that the U.S. had provided adequate guarantees that Guzman would not face the death penalty. San Diego remains a hot spot for presidential candidates. Republican candidate Donald Trump is heading to the convention center next Friday. Today, he scored a presidential endorsement from the National Rifle Association. He tweeted this photo from the NRA convention with Wayne LaPierre and Chris Cox. Today, he repeated his call for ending gun-free zones. He also touted the list of potential Supreme Court nominees as a sign of his commitment to upholding the Second Amendment. Tomorrow, former President Bill Clinton will campaign for his wife Hillary in Chula Vista, and Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders will be in National City on Sunday. California voters could get a chance in November to weigh in on new ways to reduce the state's prison population. Governor Jerry Brown turned in nearly 1 million signatures today, backing his initiative to allow adult inmates to get out of prison more quickly and earlier parole for nonviolent felons. Opponents say the initiative would increase crime and undermine laws designed to protect crime victims' rights. Nearly 200,000 California citizens registered to vote or updated their records during a two-day push by Facebook this week. Facebook displayed a registration reminder and link on Monday and Tuesday. Secretary of State Alex Padilla says 1 in 3 people who registered was between 17 and 25 years old. It was the second busiest day in California's 4-year-old online registration system. You can find all of our election coverage online at kpbs.org/election. Scientists in the early stages of their careers could be in for a pay raise under the Department of Labor's new overtime rules. But KPBS science reporter David Wagner says it's unclear how researchers at UC San Diego will be affected.
Postdoctoral researchers, or postdocs, are scientists who work in academic labs after obtaining a PhD. And according to a union that represents postdocs at the University of California, UC San Diego employs more postdocs than any other UC campus. These are some highly educated workers, but they're not highly paid. The salary of a first-year UCSD postdoc starts at close to $44,000. That's below the average wage for a San Diego worker. And at this rate, many postdocs would be eligible for overtime pay under the new rules put out by the Department of Labor this week. Adam Wire is a postdoc in a UCSD structural biology lab. He's also a steward with the UC Postdoc Union.
There are a lot of people who are dropping out of this because they just simply don't have enough money to live and support a family. Anything can help, and I think this is a good first step.
However, UCSD representatives haven't committed to any salary raises for postdocs yet. They say the university needs more time to work out how it's going to approach the new rules. David Wagner, KPBS News.
San Diego's unemployment rate last month was the lowest it's been since 2007. The Unemployment Development Department says it was 4.5% in May, down from 4.7%, where it had been stuck since December. Statewide unemployment is at 5.2%. EDD says the hospitality industry led the way in job gains last month in preparation for summer tourism. Mexico is lowering its economic growth forecast for 2016, citing what it calls adverse international conditions, including sluggish industrial production in the United States. Deputy Treasury Secretary Fernando Aportella says Mexico's economy is also being hurt by volatility in financial markets and low prices for oil, a key export. Nearly 80% of Mexican exports go to the United States. A new government survey finds a majority of public pools in several states, including California, are in violation of health and safety codes. The Centers for Disease Control looked at the 5 states with the most public pools: Arizona, California, Florida, New York, and Texas. 80% of inspections found at least one violation. 1 in 8 inspections resulted in immediate closure due to the severity of the violations, and 1 in 5 kiddie pools inspected was shut down. People who are suffering from a mental health crisis in North County will soon have a new place to get help. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg shows us the newest crisis home in Escondido.
The North Inland Crisis Facility is a first of its kind in North County. The facility is designed to be a safe, home-like setting for people with a severe mental illness who are in crisis. It has nice bedrooms and a large open kitchen. There's a tastefully decorated living room and a spacious outdoor patio. San Diego's Community Research Foundation will operate the facility and provide mental health treatment. The foundation's president, Linda Hammond, says it's not a psychiatric hospital.
In the hospital, it's more professionals fixing you rather than here you taking responsibility for, I can help myself, I can do this, I can take control of my life.
The new crisis facility will house up to 15 people with an average stay of 9 days. San Diego County Supervisor Dave Roberts says it will really fill a need in the community. Roberts says it's fitting that the crisis house is called Esperanza. That's Spanish for hope.
Hope to get well, hope to get back to a normal daily life, hope to be with their families and loved ones, and that's what this is all about.
The North Inland Crisis Facility will accept its first clients in July. Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.
Ready for duty. San Diego's ROTC class of 2016 had their commissioning ceremony at the University of San Diego today. 28 students were inducted as Marine second lieutenants and Navy ensigns. 14 of them will be serving at the Marine Corps. 9 will work as nurses around the world. 3 will move on to the pilot training, and 2 will serve at bases in Japan and Hawaii.
We've been working on their growth and bringing them through, training them, mentoring them, providing all sorts of military training, leadership training, and this is the culmination of everything that we've put into them and everything they've really earned for themselves.
The new officers attended normal colleges in Southern California for 4 years. They were given officer ranks today through the ROTC program.
Veterans Choice was supposed to help vets get faster medical care. Hasn't turned out that way. How will a boycott of San Diego hotels influence the push for a new Chargers stadium? And why UCSD finds meeting big fundraising goals is a tall order. Join us for the Roundtable tonight at 8:30 here on KPBS.
As part of our California Council election coverage, we're asking San Diegans who can't vote because of age or lack of citizenship how they would vote if given the chance. KPBS reporter Megan Burks took the question to her alma mater, El Capitan High School.
Like an undercover cop on campus or something, like I'm all wired up. I feel kind of nervous. Good. The main question we had for you guys was just if you had a vote or when you do have a vote, what's kind of the one thing you feel like you would want to use that vote to change in your community?
I would like to see greater personal freedom. In many different areas, both liberal and conservative.
My major issue is protecting LGBT equality and preventing discrimination.
That fact that there's so many homeless veterans, there's a lot of them, that really is really unfair. Those people go out and they die for us and they fight for us, and I feel like that needs to be fixed.
If I could vote, I'd vote for more rights for everybody, such as women and their equal pay.
To be honest, I actually don't know. Because I feel like that's something like when I get older, like I'll start noticing like what the problem is.
I think that we need to become more reliant on sustainable energy like wind and solar.
How many of you would like to see Bernie Sanders elected?
I kind of don't like his free college issue. I know most people do, but I'd rather have just at least more trade schools because a lot of my friends, they're going into the military or they're not going to college but they would love to go to a trade school or something of that nature.
Why don't you like the free college idea?
I mean, I love education in itself. I plan to stay in school as long as possible. But, I mean, just in a high school where it's free, people don't take advantage of it.
I think that if college were at least more affordable, then more students would be able to go. Because there are a lot of people who aren't given the opportunity to go to college because it costs thousands and thousands of dollars.
If you make it free, then you would have to get the money from somewhere else, and most likely taxes. So you're just increasing taxes. So by making it free, you're just making a problem somewhere else. So nothing can really be free.
If you're paying for something, you're more likely to treasure it.
Is there something about like our current election voting system that you would want to change?
Now you have people who are just firmly believe what they believe, and that's it, and they won't accept anything else, they won't listen to anything else, and it just kind of been changing election courses.
When your generation is in office, do you think it's going to look different or do you think it's going to look the same?
Our generation's pretty isolated from everybody around them, being on their phones all the time and stuff. So I don't know how well we get along with each other.
Now that there's such like globalization of culture, that I think that a lot more of us will be able to, like if you have a certain viewpoint, you'll be able to find someone else with that viewpoint.
Are you eligible to vote? Share what you would vote for if given the chance using the hashtag #IHadAVote on Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget to pack a warm jacket this weekend. Steph Davis says gusty winds in parts of San Diego County prompted a wind advisory that will continue until tomorrow. That's tonight on the KPBS Weather Report.
Happy Friday, everyone. Satellite and radar showing a bit of an unsettled weather pattern here across the southwest. You'll notice all these clouds building in across Southern California. A little bit damp out there as well. Farther off to the north, more in the way of showers and even some light snow showers as well. Taking a closer look around home. Right now, things looking okay on satellite and radar. Conditions improving as we roll throughout the day. So Borrego Springs south towards Chula Vista remaining dry for now, and that will be the case as we head into tonight. So we'll see partly cloudy skies in Borrego Springs with an overnight low of 59 degrees. Temperatures in Mount Laguna tumble back to the mid-30s tonight. Upper 40s and dry in Ramona and Alpine, though we will see low clouds building into Oceanside and into San Diego. Your overnight low in San Diego is 61 degrees. Cooler across parts of Southern California for our Saturday. Very windy as well. And so the National Weather Service has issued a wind advisory for the area, mainly for the deserts and the mountains until early Saturday morning, and that will remain in effect again as we roll throughout our Friday night. We could see gusts up to 60 miles per hour, so definitely want to watch for blowing and drifting sand and dust in the deserts, and if you drive a high-profile vehicle, you'll want to exercise caution out there as well. Here's a look at your 5-day outlook for the coast. Low clouds break for sunshine Saturday and Sunday with our daytime highs around 70 degrees. Same weather pattern Monday and Tuesday with those low clouds breaking for some sun and highs in the upper 60s. We'll enjoy partly sunny skies Wednesday. Your high at the coast is 67 degrees. Low clouds break for sun Saturday and Sunday inland with highs in the upper 60s. Same deal on Monday and Tuesday. And then some sunshine peeking through those clouds for the midweek Wednesday with your high at 68 degrees. Taking a peek at your 5-day outlook across the mountains. Partial sunshine and chilly for your Saturday as daytime highs struggle to break out of the 40s. Temperatures overnight back into the 30s. Clouds and sun and still cool for your Sunday. High 56. Will remain cool Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with our daytime highs only in the mid to upper 50s. Wrapping things up with your 5-day outlook in the desert. Sunny and pleasant Saturday. High temperature 80. Another nice day to enjoy Sunday with highs in the mid 80s. The pleasant weather pattern continues early next week, Monday and Tuesday. Mostly sunny for your Wednesday in the desert with your high temperature at 82 degrees. Steph Davis, KPBS News.
The Camp David Accords were signed nearly 4 decades ago, leading to a famous peace treaty. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando speaks with the playwright and producer of the new play Camp David. She shows us how they brought those intense peace talks to life at the Old Globe.
In 1978, the Camp David Accords drew worldwide attention. President Jimmy Carter brought together Egypt's Anwar Sadat and Israel's Menachem Begin to hammer out a Middle East peace treaty. In researching his play Camp David, Lawrence Wright was amazed to find a key player left out of the news reports.
The big surprise to me was Rosalind Carter. I was thinking, who should I have in a play? I mean, Begin, Sadat, Carter, 3 people, anybody else.
Really want my advice?
With as much humility as I have.
Whoa, I found my 4th character. What I saw there was, someone who could talk to Jimmy like that. But the other thing, I had no idea how instrumental she was. She was the one that came up with the idea for Camp David.
Hallie Foote originated the role of Rosalind Carter in Camp David at the Arena Stage in Washington, D.C. Now she reprises the role for the West Coast premiere at the Old Globe Theater, with Richard Thomas returning as Jimmy Carter.
During the Carter presidency, Richard was probably the most popular American in the country. He was John Boy in the Waltons. It's very pleasing to me to see a figure from that era has come to represent Jimmy Carter.
Going through an impressive physical transformation to repeat his role as Anwar Sadat is Egyptian star Khalid El-Nabawi.
There is no way to make peace between us. I am an Arab and he's Jew, and that's it.
Wright began his career as a journalist before becoming an author and playwright. He admits there are some things you can accomplish with art that you can't by merely reporting the news.
The thing about a play is so intimate. And it's not going to be the same the next night, but every night people get radiated by this feeling of what it took for those people to achieve peace.
God has told us we cannot trust the Jews. They are a treacherous people.
Oh, that doesn't sound like Anwar Sadat. It's not worthy of you. The Quran is filled with messages of tolerance.
Do not quote me the Quran.
What gets lost in the political discussion a lot of times is the humanity of the people that we're talking about.
Jerry Rafshoon was Carter's communications director during his presidency.
It was a regular roller coaster. One day we had a deal, the next day it fell through. One day Begin was mad and walked away. Another day Sadat was mad. And the glue was Jimmy Carter trying to make peace. Jimmy Carter's the bravest man I've ever known.
I laid a trap for myself, didn't I?
You were acting from your heart.
So a play, with its accuracy, captures the tension in the theater. You're feeling, oh God, if this doesn't happen. And I can attest to the accuracy of every one of those scenes. Not only the facts, but the emotions.
It's one thing to, discuss the Middle East or immigration or something like that. It's another to actually know people that are involved. And for a lot of people, that's not possible. But you can know them through the arts. You come to know what it's like to be those people. And I think that that's a kind of information that's essential for the dialogue.
The accords brokered during those 13 days has held fast for nearly 4 decades.
I realize that the message of the play is that there's one quality, that is required to make peace, and that's political courage. And that's what these men had.
And the lesson today is to leaders and political leaders, don't walk away from the tough things. If you walk away from the tough things or neglect them and do the things that are going to keep you popular, you won't have a lasting legacy.
The pessimism that one feels when looking at the Middle East is itself an enemy of peace. The idea that peace is not possible, not now, not with the cast of characters we have. If you look back at the people that made peace at Camp David, they were just as difficult as the people in the condition that we're seeing right now.
Put an Arab and a Jew on a mountaintop in Maryland and ask them to make peace? What was I thinking?
So the message of the play is that peace is possible.
The play Camp David is a testament to Carter's legacy and to the possibility of peace, no matter who your cast of characters is. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
Camp David runs through June 19th at the Old Globe Theater. And check out the new Cinema Junkie podcast on iTunes featuring Egyptian actor playing Anwar Sadat.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, we meet the United States man in Hanoi ahead of President Obama's visit to Vietnam. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
America's favorite pastime was on board San Diego's USS Midway Museum. Professional players launched baseballs into San Diego Bay off the USS Midway. It was a rehearsal for next month's minor league home run derby. Calling all kids scientists. The White House wants you to be the next kid science advisor.
I have a question to ask you.
Of course, please.
Do you have a child science advisor?
I don't. Do you think you might be interested
You should.
in that position?
A child science advisor can give you feedback on how kids like science.
You look sharp in that bow
This
tie.
9-year-old introduced the idea of a kid-driven program to President Obama last month. It wants children to weigh in on how to make the U.S. a better place. Kids can submit ideas on the White House website. An award-winning actor headed back to school today. Matt de la Pena is the first Latino author to win the Newbery Medal in its 94-year history. Now he wants to inspire students to go after their dreams.
I was born in National City.
Matt de la Pena was back at his old playground on Friday at Lincoln Acres School in National City. It's where he attended kindergarten and first grade in the late 1970s.
Do you guys think you could do anything you want in this life?
De la Pena captivated his audience of children in kindergarten through 6th grade as he read his book, Last Stop on Market Street. The main character, a little boy who's riding in a bus through the city with his grandmother.
CJ stared out the window feeling sorry for himself. He watched cars zip by on either side.
Along the boy's journey, he learns to be grateful for what he has instead of envious of the people around him. It's a message De La Pena hopes the students will take with them.
This book is about you.
12-year-old Lily Afrey says De La Pena made her realize she doesn't have to come from a rich neighborhood to achieve great things.
I don't think right now I'm going to be a writer, but with him, I thought like maybe I could, and I thought that maybe other people that I know could be a writer or anything that they want to be.
Everything I've ever written features kids who are growing up on the quote-unquote wrong side of the tracks, and that's my whole mission, is to like provide stories featuring normal kids, regular kids. Sometimes they're struggling, sometimes they don't have enough, sometimes they're dealing with class and race issues.
He says the words in his story were drawn from his childhood in National City, where he grew up poor.
I think now that's one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced, is growing up without extra, without excess. I think incredible creativity can be born from those circumstances.
De La Pena's next project is a young adult book about Superman as a teenager living in a migrant town. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.